little late for my screening of The Birth of a Nation. I'm a little trepidatious about the film. I've heard some mixed reviews. I think it's obviously controversial for the subject matter of the film, but also controversial because of the sort of personal life of the director of the film, the auteur of the film. So let's unpack it a little bit more afterwards. Hopefully I get a good seat because I'm kind of late. But here we go.
Initiate Vigilante mode.
Alright guys, so I just got out of the screening of The Birth of a Nation, and before I do get into the review, I had shot basically 40 minutes of a conversation about Luke Cage and Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. And I realized that the audio wasn't on, the microphone wasn't turned on. But I'm gonna sort of maybe give the highlights in another video. It's been a long weekend. Last night was just a really long night. Not only went to the screening of Birth of a Nation, but I saw a play pretty late last night and stayed basically until almost 1 a.m. I'll talk about that play in another video. Let's talk about The Birth of a Nation. So, The Birth of a Nation stars Nate Parker. It's directed by Nate Parker. It's also written by Nate Parker, and it's also produced, at least co-produced, by Nate Parker. So I think it's fair to say that he is the auteur of this particular film. There's been a lot of controversy surrounding not only the subject matter of the film, but sort of his personal life and some of these accusations of basically rape. I think that that's definitely, tainting the reactions to the movie, I think, before a lot of people do see it. I chose to compartmentalize that and the film itself. That title is sort of repurposing the title from D.W. Griffith's film from, I believe, 1920 perhaps, or one of the first epics. And while the technical filmmaking of that movie should be applauded, the subject matter in the movie is very skewed and came from a very racist perspective, a long time ago, not that long ago. He's taken that title and sort of repurposed it to fit this story. The story is of Nat Turner. Nat Turner is a slave. He also develops the ability to read, an uncommon trait for a slave. While he grows up with who later becomes the patriarch of the family, Sam Turner, who's played brilliantly by Armie Hammer. Nat basically becomes a preacher. Drama sort of is built off of that premise. In my opinion, a very well put together movie. It's about an hour and 50 minutes. I felt like it was well paced. I felt like it was beautifully shot. Cinematography, shot composition I thought was very thoughtful and thought-provoking. Nobody gave a bad performance in this movie. Everybody, I think, gave it their all, particularly Nate Parker. I mean, I thought his acting was very effective and honest. I really do think he was exquisite as both actor, director, producer. I mean, he really gave it everything he had. The film is getting a mixed reaction. I'd be surprised if he's not nominated for this as an actor. I think as a director, at least of the films I've seen of 2016 so far, I think this is definitely one of the best. I aspire to have as much courage as this character displayed, to basically put yourself through so much pain and I guess misery for the sake of others' protection or defense. I think is truly heroic and truly noble. And I think if there's anything that people should take away, any color or any race or gender, is that the spirit of perseverance, I think, is what is most powerful in the story. I think there is a very clear kind of Christ-like allegory to this film. I don't think that it's meant to beat people over the head, but I think that there are just similar traits, at least to the myth of Jesus Christ and Nat Turner. That is what movies are about. It's meant to be kind of poetic, not necessarily literal. And I do think that while there might be moments of perhaps hyperbole, exaggeration, or creative license of moments or beats of the actual story, I found that the the poetry of the film was very effective, very moving, and very powerful. The debate is very hot right now of, Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter, the Muslim community, the LGBT community, the Trump community. And I think that I'm just very proud and happy that right now we're getting films about these figures in history. I know that Harriet Tubman is a long overdue film. I remember actually having daydreams about what that movie would be like. Very happy to see that these stories are finally coming to life on the screen. The movie is more complex than just black versus white. I think it really does distill, a lot of the hypocrisy of slavery. As a society, we need to really continue to reflect on this. Everybody really, I think, does. Our nation began with the institution of slavery as basically the primary backbone of the economy. I think that the film really does analyze that in a really potent way. A person who is seen as a piece of equipment, who works for no wage, we really need to take a look at that and how that is affecting us today. The movie makes me want to research this story even further. I love this sense of honor and nobility that this character had, and the burden that he kind of takes upon himself, knowing that he is outnumbered and outmatched and outgunned by the majority of the population. So that's again why I feel like there is a Christ comparison. The movie is graphic, but it's not gratuitous. Every drop of blood or whipping or lashing or whatever is based on historical fact. I don't think that there is much distorting of the facts of how slaves were auctioned, slaves were beaten, abused, mutilated. I think that it is pertinent and important to see that, even though it is very hard to watch. For those who are struggling perhaps with a sense of guilt or a sense of misunderstanding, this would be a hard film for you to watch. For African Americans or people of color, I do also think that this is a difficult movie to watch as well. But I think that courage that the characters embody in the film is something that we as an audience should embody as well. To really, because this is human history and we can't really hide from it anymore. And that's why I think it's so important to really embrace movies like this. There are going to be comparisons, obviously, to 12 Years a Slave or Amistad or other films about the African American experience or slavery. I think they're two very different films. Obviously, they have a lot of similarities. And I actually only saw 12 Years a Slave once because that's how effective I felt it was. It's not a movie that I really want to rewatch because it's really hard to watch it. I am perhaps sensitive to what's happening right now. My heart hurts a lot every time I hear that a black man is gunned down by an officer of the law. This movie continues the internal dialogue and the dialogue that I want to have with other people and you guys out there. To open this up more, and I feel like the conversation is where these things kind of start the healing process. I think that this is one of the best movies of 2016. I'm gonna give this film an A. I'm unapologetic about that. You can disagree with me. I would love to hear your reasons why. I'm very impressed by what the result was after all of the hype from Sundance and even from the controversy. I'll leave the controversy stuff out of this. If you want to leave a comment about that stuff, I'm more than happy to hear about it. As a film on its own, I think that it's exquisite and a beautiful piece of art. It's not a perfect film, but I think it really does hit the target. Those are my thoughts on The Birth of a Nation. Again, there's a lot to talk about with this movie, so leave a comment below. I'd love to know what you think. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Vigilante Mode Reviews. It really helps me out. Don't forget about Sheet. You can check out my Facebook like page at Sheet Short Film. It's a tongue twister. You can also check out my Facebook like page at Vigilante Mode Production. You can find me on Twitter at Haynes Jordan, on Instagram at Vigilante Mode, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then,
Vigilante Mode.